Welcome to episode 48 on the Riviera Firefly, where we will be reflecting on the past, enjoying the present, and looking forward to the future. Let's roll.
Having successfully launched 3 businesses, bilingual mum to 2 and entrepreneur Antonia Beauvoisin-Brown has connected with thousands of people, both French and international, since moving to the French Riviera. These connections allow her to speak to successful local businesses and inspirational people about life here on the Côte d'Azur and share it with you. Welcome to the Riviera Firefly podcast with your host, entrepreneur, and my mum, Antonia Beauvoisin-Brown.
Welcome to 2019. As we say in France, plein de bonheur et surtout santé, happiness and health. Above all health, as this is what's most important. As someone in a nearby commerce to me here said today, without that we have nothing. So I'm wishing you the best of health for 2019. Well, in today's episode, I'm going to reference a couple of past episodes and would love you to go back and listen to them if you haven't already done so, or even if you had and you want a little refresher like I have done, feel free to do so. I'm going to link them into the show notes so you can click and find them easily. But here's how you go and do it. You go to rivierafirefly.com/ and then you put in the episode number that I tell you. So if I was talking about episode 15, you would put in rivierafirefly.com/15. And that will take you straight to the episode on Kenyan kids with Julie Helen. Julie, I hope you have a great 2019. Well, I started today with a bath. Yes, you heard that right, a bath. And a newspaper. And it's my busy day. And I was at work on time. Well, why am I sharing that with you? I like to overshare. No, not really. It's that time of year when we do New Year's resolutions. Some people have resolutions, some have a word, and many of you do nothing. And that's absolutely fine too, each to their own. Well, me, I like to have a word. I did this last year. Mine was grow, and boy, did we grow at KidooTeam. We over doubled our space, and 6 months into the venture, while we're still getting used a little bit to the space, we're really enjoying this new experience. It's given us all here at KidooTeam new challenges, new experiences, but most importantly, it's given us space to breathe because we were literally pushing back those walls. We added new classes like a chess club for kids and another ballet class for kids, so that we've got 2 levels now for ballet on Wednesdays. And for adults, well, we didn't forget about you. We've added yoga and Pilates. And I say you, but actually my team and I get to enjoy that. Since September, I've been regularly in yoga and Pilates, and it's really been helping me improve my core and get bendy and flexible, which were things that I was hoping to achieve last year. So I'm really happy that I got that underway in September. The transformation of KidooTeam has been subtle, but it's becoming the club with even more and more community feel that I once dreamed about years ago. And so in 2019, there are things that I want to add into it, things like art classes for adults, flower arranging, maybe some personal development. I'd like to do a bit of boxing because I did a free trial session, taster session of that in 2018 and I loved it. Self-defense was another thing that we were thinking about, mainly as pop-up classes. So as a way to do something new without always having to sign up for the year. Basically, I can't commit to the year, and I think that's the same thing for many people. So if that piques your interest, do get in touch via KidooTeam.com. More on that a little bit later. So it's a new year, and always at this time of year, I think it's a great thing to reflect on everything that we've been doing over the previous year before we get into the new year. I love that time between Christmas and New Year. It's one of the few times of year where my businesses are closed, no one's at work, and so I can truly relax, because the rest of the year one's always slightly on edge, on alert, even if I'm not physically in the premises, because I know things are still going on here. I'm worried that something might go wrong. Never does, but it's always in the back of your mind. So obviously over the holidays we did the typical Anglo Christmas thing, the turkey. Well, I didn't do the turkey, but you know what I mean. We had the crackers, the mince pies, and living in such a beautiful region, we were out as a family on outings, enjoying the beautiful sunshine down here, down to the beach, up to the hills, the mountains. But when I wasn't doing that, I also took time to totally reorganise my house. I mean totally. Well, 95%. Nearly every cupboard, every nook and cranny, every drawer. There's just a few little bits left to do, and I will commit to getting them done by the end of January. You can hold me accountable to that. And the amount of accumulated stuff that we got to take to recycling, Goodwill, the thrift stores, the charity shops was incredibly pleasing to me. Can you tell? Usually we move house, actually. Every couple of years we've had to move houses. This is the first time that I think I've lived in a house for this long since my childhood house. So 7 years and counting. And funny enough, as we were doing this process of going through every single cupboard, Tidying Up was on Netflix. And that made a bit of a change from the Christmas film. So I had that playing in the background. And at first Mr. Beebe was a bit like, what is this? Well, it's basically, if you don't know, it's based on the KonMari Method with the lady herself in the Netflix Tidying Up. And she has an unusual approach of tackling areas bit by bit. And so basically you might tackle your wardrobe. You pull everything out of your wardrobe and put it on your bed, and one by one look at those items and decide if they are still giving you joy. If you use them, in which case you can put them back in your wardrobe, and if not, you say thank you very much, lovely skirt, it's time to say goodbye, and they go in the bag to be passed on, recycled, moved on. Now, we all know this method. I think we've all read about it. Even my teenage daughter talks about the pack it away, and if you don't use it, lose it, get rid of it kind of method. But that last step had not been actioned in the Beebe house for quite a while. You hear me, don't you? So, as we emptied a huge French dresser of lots of crockery and candles and things like that, we decided that if each item brought us love or we really needed it, then it would go back. But surely and slowly we were able to get rid of items and give our home space to breathe again. And it was one of the highlights of my holiday. I've told practically everyone as part of my, this is what we did in Christmas. And so now you know too. So it's no longer a secret, it's out there. You see, I love organisation. I don't like wasting time at all. I don't like looking for stuff. For me, that's a huge time waster. I like everything to have its place. Don't get me wrong, that does not mean that our house is army tidy, although I might quite like it that way, but it's not. We've got kids, we've got dogs, it's a very interactive, noisy, busy house, and we also have Mr. Beebe, so it's never going to be an army tidy house, and I like that way. It's the family way, but it does actually mean that in my house, mainly it's surface mess, and it doesn't take too long to whip the things into shape and get things back in their place. So, as I was tidying and sorting the whole house, my mind had time to drift and relax. And as it's that change of year time, for me it's another moment in the year where I can look back personally and professionally at highlights and of course things that weren't really going our way. And I like to sort of start visualising at how I want the next year to pan out. So, for some people, I know as you're listening, that's a little bit of hocus pocus, but for me, it's something that works really well. I do like to be in the present and take stock, looking back and then looking to the future. I really try to be mindful and live in the present as much as possible, but I like to do it with a little vision, a plan ahead of me, so I know where I'm going and what my path is. I want to get fitter, fit for 50, that's my goal, and I've still got a couple of years left. Mind, body and spirit, more on that a little bit later. I started that in September, as I said earlier, with the yoga and Pilates, which was a nice gentle wake up for the body that hadn't been used to that kind of activity for quite a while. And so this year, now that things are, the cobwebs have been dusted out, we're going to start taking that up to the next levels. I want to work less, which I've been gradually doing. I have been working less, and out of this work, I want it to be the things that I really get pleasure from and feel is my calling. With this will come more team challenges for my team and accomplishments. So I'm going to be passing work on that has been traditionally on my action list to people in my team, giving them new challenges to work for. Personally, I will get smarter with my time. So when I say I've been working less, it is because I have been batch working. I have been really focused on the time that I want to work to get things done, not surfing the internet and going on social media, but really focusing on the tasks that I had to get done and being more efficient effectively so that I wasn't having to work Monday afternoons and Friday afternoons. That's what I was doing last year. Really enjoyed it. So you'll notice that when I'm thinking about this year, I'm thinking about a lot of wills rather than wants. Because for me, it's all in the semantics and the language. It's key to making it happen, is my belief that it will happen. And we also have personal changes as a family ahead of us. The kids are growing, and they're growing and they're going to go. And we've got other little family hiccups that we're going to have to deal with in 2019. I want to be able to be free, to be able to go and deal with any of those curveballs that are going to be thrown my way. So Mr. BB and I have been having little talks about what that means for us professionally and personally. And just as the KonMari in the house, we are having the Beau Browning in our home and our work lives, having a little look, a swipe left and right, if you like, on all manner of things. It's a great thing to do as an individual, as a couple, as a family. So onto the swipe list comes podcasting, because of course that's something that took up lots of my time last year. And you know, it can be a strange experience. I've said it before, sitting here on a mic, talking random things. Your inner girl, your inner mean girl, can quite often pipe up and say, why are you bothering with this? No one wants to hear what you've got to say, and many other things. And it takes a lot of work to do to put together one of these. So if I'm going to get smarter and focus on different things, it means that I have to question all the work that I'm currently doing, and am I going to carry on doing it? And so to give you an idea, each episode takes about 4 to 8 hours, depending on the style, whether it's a solo or whether it's an interview. And so these are the kind of things that I have been evaluating, and 3 points came to my mind as I was thinking about podcasting. And the first was actually feedback from a listener. I was at Christine Kadelberg's house for a chocolate tasting with Hilly from the Bombine, episodes 24 and 37. So rivierafirefly.com/24 or /37 if you want to hear their interviews. Anyway, I was there at this really great chocolate tasting, and this lady came up to me. She was unknown to me at that point, but she gave me the most amazing feedback, how she loved the Riviera Firefly. She'd listened to all the episodes, and she had some ideas for future guests, future episodes, people that I could interview, that I actually then checked in with a week later. It was a huge boost to me personally. It's the first time I'm sharing this. It was a kind of verbal hug that was just amazing. So thank you to you. You know who you are. Thank you for coming up and sharing that with me. Obviously, I also can look at hard facts. The statistics and the downloads prove that my inner mean girl, well, she doesn't know what she's talking about. You need to go check your facts, girl. Because people are downloading and listening, and it's increasing. Thank you so much, because you are sharing these episodes with your friends. They're getting in contact, they're getting reviews, and it's great to know that there are people out there listening and liking what we do here on the Riviera Firefly. And the third reason, and this is what's really important, is that I love it. I don't always have the time or the creative energy to get on the mic, but once I do get down to it, there's this great energy that comes from the whole process. I love the community element, the way that we can put a spotlight on individuals and showcase their work or their causes. It's also the personal connection that I am making with the guests. And I wanted to give you a few examples by looking back over the last 12 months at how these connections have perhaps impacted me, or where they have led to future collaborations that have happened as a result of that. Looking at the previous episodes, I can see that we have done an incredible range of collaborations. Many interviews have gravitated towards look after yourself category, but that was because it was very much on my radar last year and will carry on this year. Some of my favourite episodes have actually focused on doing what you want and seizing the opportunity, because that motivates me to do the same. So you may remember that I had a chat with Ambassador Llewellyn, episode 34. It was a huge confidence boost to me. How did it come about? Well, I was at a public meeting in Nice with him, and I'm not really actually a person to speak out loud in public, but I did that 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method, where you take action at one. And before I knew it, my hand was up in the air and I was asking a question with a mic. And after that, I went up and introduced myself to his PA and his team and asked him for an interview, and they said yes. And that he would agree to jump on a show with me was a real moment for me. And I will go and get another update with him. He promised he would do another update with me, but I'm just kind of waiting for UK politics to have a bit of traction and know where we're going to be going us Brits. I'm hoping with the TikTok clock going and the end of March 2019 not far away, that update will be very soon in the near future. Some of my personal favourites. Oh, here we go. Barbara Wilson, episode 33. How we can use creativity to make a positive change. Well, little update is that I now have in my hand a copy of her book. She mentioned on that episode that she wanted to do that. And I went to a launch of hers in the summer for Creativity Cycling, available on Amazon, co-written with Tracy Stanley. It's a proper, real book. And it introduces you to tested creative processes for solving complex problems. It's great. I'm going to get her back on the podcast to come and talk to us about it because the methods are so powerful. Watch out for that update. We had Dawn Howard. Well, she stepped in for me as a guest host for a couple of the sessions in the summer, giving tips around dog training because I had run out of things to say. I was heavily involved in the renovation project at KidooTeam of the Loft, the whole new centre that we opened up. And I literally didn't have any energy or any creativity left to give. I was loving the project I was working on and I wanted to keep things ticking over a tiny bit on the Firefly. And Dawn, bless her, she said, yep, no problem. And she recorded a couple of episodes for us. And they were some fun ones that I was able to listen to myself and help with my dogs. It was brilliant. Another great chat was with Dorothy Foster, episode 34. Still tops up really high on my personal charts, because I just love this example of how grit and resilience can change your odds. I have huge admiration for Dorothy. And our paths keep crossing. They've crossed many times since that interview. Various events like the Riviera Business Awards. And personally too, as she's actually been helping me with my own teen, guiding him as he prepared his application for uni, helping him build his confidence and figure out what he needed to be working on to add the extracurricular experience onto his CV. She's also a pay it forward girl and for the second time has offered up her time free of charge to coach a group of mums that weren't KidooTeam clients but came together at KidooTeam, and we all had a little powwow and a chat together, and she just gave all this free information to those mums to help with their kids. Do get in contact with her and go and listen to her in episode 34. And keep your fingers crossed for Master L, who's now submitted his application. On the pay it forward note, Tracy Leonetti, episode 11, also collaborated with a group of writers and she co-wrote a book. I need to write a book because there's a theme here. It was called Notes to My Younger Self, and I'll link in the show notes. The little difference with this one is they were putting copies of this book around the world in random places, like in a cafe or at a train station. And the idea is that you read the post-it note, which says, take me home, read me, and pay it forward, leave it for someone else. And you benefit from these notes to the younger self, and you pass it on. I just think it's genius. Towards the end of the year, Tracy and I put our heads together again, and we decided we'd give back to our own communities by pulling together some information that we'd share out for free. And so was born our first edition of the Survival Guide to the South of France, totally free PDF guide that you can download from my free online community group, Côte d'Azur Living. In the first edition of this survival guide, we look at things like to relocate or not to relocate, moving to France from vision to mission, buying a house, settling in, and focus on healthcare. And we didn't do this alone, so thanks to Rachael Dickens, the English Osteopath, episode 18, Susanne Formant, Pippa, Gomis, and Nice Holmes for their input into that first edition that you can get if you go into Côte d'Azur Living Facebook group and click on files, and you can download that totally for free. Come and join us. It's a great community. There are a few entry questions to answer if you haven't already joined us, and that's really just to stop the spammers from joining us and making sure that we're getting a quality member joining us. And we are 9,000 strong, amazing community members who are constantly reaching out, sharing and caring. It's a really safe space for you to be in. So the Facebook group Côte d'Azur Living, great place to hang out, especially if you've just arrived or you're thinking about coming here. But even if you've been here for years, we've got something great going on all the time. We've got Share Your Biz Days. So only to my thread. You can share and publicise your business when we decide to run that. And in January 2019, I've organised a Motivate Your Mind, Body and Soul. So I've invited some special subject matter experts to come and inspire us through January. Motivate our mind, body and soul. It's there in the title. They're going to be sharing small bite-sized ideas, articles and a little bit more so that we as a community can learn and grow. So who's going to be in that? Gavin Sharp with an E. Live, Love, Learn. So he works in counselling, coaching and therapy and was just interviewed by me quite recently, episode 47. And he's going to be helping us with some ideas in the mind. Lee Bowden from Fitness Nutrition. Well, Lee's going to be on the podcast soon in 2019. And she's someone that I've had the pleasure of working with in my free business cocoon masterminds for the last year. She is an amazing lady. She has gone through amazing business transformation. She's a kettlebells fanatic and a nutrition expert. And most importantly, she is just a great person to be around. And I've even had the chance to sing alongside her on the mic, thanks to Vonnie Marshall-Edwards, episode 26, the local vocal coach, who is still working with my daughter, filling her soul with music and therefore my house with music. And it's amazingly important for our teens to be doing something that brings them so much joy and is so uplifting. Do go and listen to her and go and join one of her classes. And the third person in the group that's going to help motivate us is Faye Vialba, episode 9 and 19, who's going to be sharing a few ideas for the soul. She also teaches yoga with me at Kidooland on Tuesday mornings, as I mentioned before, and she ends that with meditation. And you're all welcome to come to Kidooland and join us if you want to. It's open to people even if you don't have kids. You can come along and join us for yoga. So do go and join the Facebook group if you want some local motivation in January. And on the note of singing, Mr. BB, he rolled in late last night, whistling and singing and full of the joys of the Côte d'Azur winter, which if you haven't moved here yet, for info, has been amazing this year. December, practically all outside, al fresco breakfasts and lunches, washing, drying on the line. So anyway, he came in and he was super happy. Why? Because he'd been to the Big Blaze Choir with Lizzie Parks, episode 6, and her crew. Singing is good for you and it's good for the mind, spirit and soul. And there's scientific proof behind that. So now is a great time to go and join a choir or a singing group. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go do it. So music, singing, it's why we invited the singers from those local Côte d'Azur groups to come and share their Christmas cheer with us at the Kidooland Christmas Fair in December. For first event, I have to say I was amazed at how a community pulled together. The stall holders, without exception, were extremely professional and the variety on offer was fabulous. I left with a Christmas wreath, chocolates, cake, chutneys, jewellery, candles, table displays, a fabulous Christmas essential oil, decorations, gifts, and through the day, me, Mr. BB and the kids, we were all well fed and watered on the refreshment stand. All this with Christmas music in the background. And there was a photo booth. Go and see episode 29. It was so much fun. So a huge thank you to all of the stall holders for making my Christmas anyway. And also thanks to the KidooTeam, in particular Emma, Sean and Miriam, who went over and above. I also had loads of fun in the run-up to it, interviewing the stall holders like Sea Glass in episode 43 and Mel from the Clever Kitchen in 44 and finding out about their new business ventures and where they were taking them and where they were developing them. So that whole event, I'd like to say to everyone, thank you all so much for taking a risk on me by turning up at that event. We had well over 400 people attend on that day. Many people contacted me after the event and said it was the only fair that they had bought from and that the vibe was really brilliant, that it was a great start to Christmas to see so many friends in one place. Well, it was a huge relief as well for me because the event could have gone really badly, but it went really smoothly. Everyone showed up and most importantly, it had the feel, the vibe, that content that we were aiming for. And obviously things can be tweaked and improved in the future, but for a first event, we were really happy. Honestly, in the run-up to it though, I did question, why did I decide to do it? Because I didn't need to do it. I could have had a nice quiet run up to the Christmas. There was no financial gain for us at Kidland. I didn't charge the stall holders anything. Any stands that we ran, my team organised. Well, all the proceeds went to charity, and the stall holders, instead of giving us money, they gave it direct to Mimosa. It was just brilliant to have it so well received. And between you and me, in the week leading up to this, which was for me a huge event, I hadn't put anything like this on before, we had a medical family emergency, which meant instead of me calmly planning the final stages up to this event, I was in and out of hospital dealing with medical professionals and really not physically in my workplace at all. Thank goodness for smartphones. But the beauty of having an amazing team and having volunteers, and that we had pre-planned so much, was that everyone kind of marched on without me. All I really had to do was sort of check in with people and find out that things were going according to plan. People carried on donating their books and their toys. So Sally, Emma, Nat, thank you for your donations. But so many more people just came by, dropped things off, and I didn't even see you. Steph P, amazing, pre and on the day, preparing and raising funds for the charity. She didn't need to do it, but she just volunteered her help. Jilly Bolcom from Jilly B's Bakery is another one who baked a gorgeous Christmas cake and donated it for the Guess the Weight of the Cake competition. We had lots of volunteers, lots of people offering their help. Helen Mackenzie from Mackenzie Services, she just turned up on the day and non-stop help throughout the fair, before, during and after, sweeping things up and getting the place ready for opening time of Kidland Playgroup on the Monday morning. And of course, all my friends and family that turned up on the day. Special shout out to June, who helps me admin Côte d'Azur Living. She was there when I got a phone call to tell me that my parents had been burgled down in Valbonne. Right in the middle of the event, there was that drama going on as well. And so Tina Silver, who was on the neon candle stall, and June were there to sort of hold me, give me that hug, that power hug, to carry on through that event and carry on enjoying it, despite everything else that was going on around. At the end of the day, French Riviera Animals had a stall, and they, in their words, were blown away by your support because they raised well over €300. Michelle from Cancer Research, well, she ran a card stall and sent us this message, and I thought I'd read it out to you because I thought it was really interesting. She wanted to let us know, that we have raised over €800 this year from the sale of Christmas cards for Cancer Research UK. Thank you so much all for allowing us to piggyback on the Mimosa Autumn Clothes Sale and the Kidderland Christmas Fair, both of which certainly helped us increase sales. We were wondering if Christmas cards were going out of fashion, but this is most what we have ever sold. This is the most that we have ever sold, so perhaps not. Brilliant, huh? Brilliant feedback that, we're still interacting with each other, sending Christmas cards rather than doing it through a smartphone, and that we were able to raise all that money for Cancer Research UK. And finally, there was Mimosa Matters. Go back to episode 16, you can hear all about them. They were our chosen charity for this event, and they raised €1,425.10 on their refreshment stand. Those also included the Kidderland stands, the fundraising, the book sales, the raffles, the Guess the Weight of the Cake. But that is a huge community response when you add in the cards, the French Riviera Animals, and the Mimosa refreshment store. So thank you to each and every single one of you for pulling together and having a great moment at the Kidderland Christmas Fair. Well, that was the inauguration of our new loft space, which is available for events and birthday parties and bar mitzvahs. It houses the new dedicated playgroup and kindergarten space. So do come by. You can come by anytime with an appointment and check it out. We're also using it for fitness and sport too. Go to kidland.com if you want to find out more and book a visit. And of course, you can even come to us even if you don't have kids and enjoy some of our activities. Thank you for being part of our community in 2018, either by listening to this podcast, being in the Côte d'Azur Facebook group, or being an active member of the Kidderland Club. I'm going to leave you with a couple of last calls to action. I'm here ready for new collaborations and ventures in 2019. Get in touch if you've got an idea, either via Kidderland or the Riviera Firefly website, rivierafirefly.com. And I'm looking to interview new contacts and to growing this podcast even more throughout the year. If you have enjoyed what we've been doing and you find an episode that you like, please share it with a friend or share it in social media. Don't forget to give us a little like, rate us, give us a review, because that really helps us in iTunes. So, if I haven't seen you already, I look forward to meeting you in 2019, and I wish you all the best for this year. As my Irish grandma would say, may the road rise up to meet you, may the wind be always at your back, may the sun shine warm upon your face, and rains fall soft upon your fields, and until we meet again, thanks for listening, that's a wrap.
Please don't forget to subscribe to this podcast, review it and share it with your friends.